Good morning, Wolfpack. Today is Monday, December 19th, 2022, and we are glad that you are here. I'm Harper with your announcements. Today's special rotation is F. School will dismiss for our winter holidays on December 21st at 11:15 a.m. Winter holidays are December 22nd through January 4th, 2023. Thursday, January 5th will be a teacher workday. Students will return to school on Friday, January 6th, 2023. Students, please remember our Howl expectations. H is for honest, O is for organized, W is for well-mannered, and L is for listener. Please stay quiet in the hallways so you do not disturb other classes. Have a wonderful day in the Wolfpack. Now for
Good morning. I am Paisley with the weather for today. Today it will be partly cloudy with a high of 48 and a low of 32. Enjoy your day. Now for our
Good morning, I'm Jose with your lunch menu for today. Today, the cafeteria will be serving cheeseburger, hamburger, lettuce, tomato, pickle, baked beans, crispy potato smiles, pineapple tidbits, fresh assorted fruit, and your choice of milk.
Congratulations, everyone that participated in the NCSS Literacy Days. We are proud of you. The 3rd through 5th grade participants were, for writing, Neriley Jennings in Miss Cole's class, Emily Carrillo in Mrs. Sweat's class, and Harper Eller in Miss Richardson's class. For poetry recitation, we had Neriley Jennings in Miss Cole's class, Giorgio Redmond in Miss Sweat's class, and Clifton DeJournette in Miss Richardson's class. Now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the national anthem. Have a great day.
attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi guys, this is Miss Tupper from 4th grade, and I have a new to me book called The Year of the Perfect Christmas Tree. It was written by Gloria Houston, and the pictures are by Barbara Cooney. It's got kind of an old picture on the front of it. Like I said, it's a new to me book. And this is an Appalachian tale, which means that it's about the north part of Georgia. Up at the very top of Georgia is the Appalachian Mountains, and that's where this story is written. You can kind of see the pictures. So this would be the Georgia Mountains. So it goes like this. It was getting toward Christmas in the valley of Pine Grove. The wise folk said the old woman in the sky was picking her geese, for the Appalachian Mountains lay blanketed with snow. The road wound like white ribbons around the misty blue ridges. tracked by the runners of wagons, sleds, and sleighs. Occasionally, an automobile trudged its way through the silence. Across the ocean, the great war raged, but in the valley, all was peace. It was getting on toward the Christmas Ruthie would never forget. The Christmas when the village almost did not have a Christmas tree. It happened this way, 'cause Ruthie told me so. "Come, my pretty young'un," Papa had said one day in the early spring. "It's time to choose the Christmas tree for the village church." "But Papa, Christmas isn't for a long time," said Ruthie. "The service trees are just now in bloom, and I guess that means it's early spring. We must choose a special tree and mark it for the coming year. It's the custom of our village," said Papa, "for one family to give all the folk in the village and up every hill and holler a Christmas tree for Pine Grove Church. This year, it's our turn. Some years a timbering man will give a fat round laurel from the Northy coves, the kind the outlanders called rhododendrons. Other years the holler folk may bring a cedar to spread its fragrance throughout the village church." "What kind of tree shall we have?" said Ruthie. "We shall have a balsam Christmas tree, my pretty young'un," said Papa. "The balsam tree grows up on the rocky crags where only a venturesome man will go. The balsam is a perfect tree. It grows up high near heaven." Early spring, the trees are blooming and the grass is green. So Papa and Ruthie rode on old Petey's back across the high cliffs along the crags looking for the perfect balsam Christmas tree. They rode and rode from early morning until the sun was high in the sky. Finally, they saw it, growing on the edge of a high cliff on Grandfather Mountain, alone with no other trees around it. Its green color was dark and rich. It was the perfect shape and size. Its tippy top pointed to heaven. "This will be our perfect Christmas tree," said Papa. "And as is the custom, the self same year you shall be the heavenly angel as the Christmas tree that we send. It's fitting that you should mark it." Papa took the red ribbon from Ruthie's coal black hair. He lifted her high in his strong arms. "Tie this to the tippy top," he said. Then he kissed the dimple in each of Ruthie's cheeks. There they are. And here they are, way up on the crag. The perfect Christmas tree. The summer came, and Papa was called away to be a soldier. He went to fight in a war far across the sea. That year, the timber was not cut, so Mama had no money to buy coffee, no sugar, or cloth for new dresses. Mama and Ruthie drank peppermint tea sweetened with honey. Mama lowered the hems of Ruthie's dresses and embroidered pretty flowers over the tears and mends. Together they tended the little garden, growing vegetables to eat. And every night, Mama tucked Ruthie into her little bed and listened as she said the same prayer. "Please send my Papa home for Christmas," Ruthie whispered, "and please have old St. Nicholas bring me a doll with a beautiful dress, the color of cream, all trimmed with ribbons and lace." So now it's springtime. Summertime, I'm sorry. Now it's coming to be fall. One day that fall, when the dried corn shooks rustled in the breeze, a package came from Papa. In it were soft silk stockings for Mama and blue satin hair ribbons for Ruthie. There was a letter, too. "I'll be home for Christmas," the letter said. "The war is finally over. The armistice was signed today." The days passed. Each day Ruthie ran home from school as fast as the deer that fed by the stream. "Is Papa home?" she called as she ran up the steps. But every day Mama said, "Not today, maybe tomorrow. He will come on the train." The days passed. Ruthie listened for the squeaky whistle of the little train as it chugged through the valley and up the mountainside. One day, Mama and Ruthie harnessed old Petey to the sled and went to the station at Pinola. But when the other men from the village stepped down from the train, Papa was not with them. So now it's gotten to be late fall. They've already got snow up in the mountains. Soon, there was one more day until Christmas. Over at the school, Miss Jenny and her pupils were practicing the Christmas play. The children sang the Appalachian lullaby, "Jesus, Jesus, rest your head, you have got a manger bed." Miss Jenny chose the boy and girl who would be Mary and Joseph. Then she called Ruthie's name. "This year you will be the heavenly angel," said Miss Jenny. "This is the year your papa will give the church its Christmas tree." Miss Jenny helped Ruthie climb up and to stand on the teacher's chair so it would look as if she were up in the sky. Miss Jenny showed her how to hold her arms just so. "If you wear a dress with great big sleeves," said Miss Jenny, "it will look like you have wings." "Mama, Mama," said Ruthie as she ran up the front steps that day, "I must have a new dress with great big sleeves. I'm going to be the heavenly angel when Papa gives the Christmas tree." "Oh, my pretty young'un," said Mama, "I have no cloth to make a dress with great big sleeves, and I have no money until your papa comes home." Mama kissed the dimple in each of Ruthie's cheeks and hugged her daughter tightly. Here she is at school, holding her arms just right. That night, the preacher from Piney Grove Church knocked at the door. "Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, Miss Green," he said, "and Tom is not yet home from the war." That would be her papa. "Mr. McKinley has been saving a fine cedar on his land. He said he'd cut it this year." "This is our year for our family to give the tree," said Mama. "Tom chose it before he went away to war." "I had hoped you would heed my wish," said preacher. "The church must have a Christmas tree when the morrow comes." "Tom is as good as his word. Our family will give the tree this year," said Mama. Late that night, Mama waked Ruthie. They dressed in their warm coats, hats, and mittens. Mama hitched old Petey to the big sled Papa used to haul fire logs down from the ridges. The moon shone silver as Mama and Ruthie made their way up the hill. Ruthie carried the lantern. As they came to the dark woods, the winter moon made strange shadows on the snow. "Mama, I'm afraid," said Ruthie. "No need to be afraid," said Mama. "We're off to get the perfect balsam Christmas tree." Mama began to sing, "I wonder as I wander out under the sky." Ruthie joined in the song. Soon she forgot to be afraid. There's the preacher. There they are, walking out to the dark woods. Mama and Ruthie led old Petey and the sled up the hills and across the ridges, but they could not find the perfect balsam tree. "Papa said the balsam grows high on the rocky crags up near heaven, where only a venturesome man would go," said Ruthie. "The rocky crags," said Mama. "We have a long climb ahead of us." Slowly they led old Petey along the ridge to the highest crag on Grandfather's Mountain. They could see the village sleeping in the valley far below. Finally, at the edge of the highest cliff, they saw the balsam standing alone. "There it is, Mama," Ruthie cried. "See, there's my ribbon bow tied to the tippy top." Ruthie ran up the rocky crag as Mama and old Petey followed. There they are, and they finally get to it at the very top of Grandfather Mountain. The blade of Papa's axe shone in the moonlight as Mama lifted it high. Thwack, thwack, crack, the sounds echoed through the rocks and hills. Then Mama picked up the saw and said, "Take hold of the end, my pretty young'un. Pull as hard as ever you can." Mama pulled. Ruthie pulled. Pull, 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 back and forth until the perfect balsam tree fell softly into the snow. Ruthie and Mama lifted the tree under the sled and tied it there. Then they made their way down the ridge. "I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning," they sang. Through the soft snow, they led old Petey to the church. Together, they lifted the perfect balsam Christmas tree from the sled and stood it in the corner near the belfry wall. Just as the sun was rising over Doe Hill, they hurried home. There they are cutting it down. And here they are. Just as the sun comes up, they get it put in place. Tucking Ruthie into her little bed, Mama whispered, "The folks shall have their Christmas tree, and you shall be the heavenly angel this year." Ruthie fell fast asleep, but Mama sat long by the firelight sewing as fast as her nimble fingers could move. First, she cut the ribbons and lace from a wedding dress the color of cream. From it, she fashioned a smaller dress with flowing sleeves. Then she took a soft silk stocking, stuffed it with lamb's wool, and stroked it until it was smooth and round. She embroidered it with 2 blue eyes, little black curls, and made a dimple in each cheek. From the scraps of Ruthie's dress, she made a tiny dress just like it, all trimmed with ribbons and lace. She dressed the stocking doll in the tiny dress. There's Ruthie going to bed. And then here's Mama sitting up sewing till late in the night. The sun was high in the winter sky when a knock came at the door. "Good Christmas Eve, Preacher Ollis," Mom said. "Do come in and sit yourself a spell." "Did you hear the news about the Christmas tree?" the preacher said. "A wondrous balsam from high up in the crags was found on the Belfry Church this morning." Do tell, do tell. "What a wonder," said Mama. "And that's not all. It's being told hereabouts that the folks who live up in the holler heard the angels singing high up on the ridge until late in the night. And they were singing Christmas songs," said Preacher Ollis. Ruthie hid her face in Mama's patchwork quilt so the preacher wouldn't see her laugh. Daylight was fading when Mama helped Ruthie into the prettiest dress Ruthie had ever seen. It was made of softest silk, the color of cream, all trimmed with ribbons and lace. It had long, flowing sleeves. "If you hold your arms just so," said Mama, "it will look just like you have wings." So there's Ruthie wearing her dress. Isn't it pretty? At the church, the ladies of the valley had decorated the perfect balsam Christmas tree. Reflections of the tiny red candles in their shiny holders fastened to the tips of the branches shone in the windows. Tied to the lower branches of the tree were the presents wrapped in pretty paper. On the tippy top was a tiny angel. The sexton rang the bell. From up and down the river road and from all the hills and hollers, the folks were coming to celebrate the Christmas tree. A choir of children sang by the organ. The 3 kings waited outside the belfry door. Behind the bedsheet curtain, Mama helped little Mary put her doll to bed in the manger straw. Ruthie climbed up and stood on the preacher's big chair. The ladies pushed the bedsheet's curtains back. Ruthie could see herself in the dark church windows. She was careful to hold her arms just so. In her beautiful dress, it looked as if she had wings. "Behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy," said Ruthie, the heavenly angel. So there they all are with the perfect Christmas tree and Ruthie's beautiful new dress. When the program was over, Ruthie went to sit with Mama on the front pew. Mama held her close. Then the 3 kings came walking down the aisle carrying lard pails filled with the Christmas tree pokes. Each bag contained a soft peppermint stick, some chocolate drops, an orange, and some hazelnuts. Behind the kings walked old St. Nicholas. He carried his toe sack goodie bag with him. Old St. Nick visited the Amen corner first. He gave each of the deacons a lump of coal or a willow switch. The folks in the church just laughed and laughed. Then to all the children who had misbehaved, St. Nick gave a willow switch or a lump of coal as well. Ruthie had been good that year, so she got a treat poke instead. At last it was time to call the names on the presents tied to the tree. Every child in the church received a present. Everyone, that is, except for Ruthie. And a little tear slipped down into the dimple on her cheek. So there's St. Nicholas There's Ruthie sitting with her mama. She's so sad. Everybody got a present but Ruthie. Then one of the kings reached to the tippy top of the perfect balsam Christmas tree, and he lifted the tiny angel down. "Why, Ruthie," said old Saint Nick, "this tiny angel looks just like you." And it did. The tiny angel was wearing a dress just like Ruthie's. It was made of the softest silk, the color of cream. It was trimmed with ribbons and lace. The sleeves were long and flowing, and it looked as if she had wings. The angel's curls were as black as coal, and she had a dimple in each cheek. Ruthie hugged the tiny angel and kissed its silky cheek, which felt just like the silk stockings Papa had sent to Mama. The preacher said the benediction, and St. Nicholas wished to one and all a happy Christmas. Slowly, the people began to leave the church. Mama and Ruthie walked out the belfry door. St. Nicholas was standing there, and a man in an army uniform stood beside him. "And here's another present for you, Ruthie," said St. Nicholas. But Ruthie was so busy looking at the tiny angel, she didn't notice until strong arms picked her up. "Let me look at you, my pretty young'un," said Papa's voice, and he hugged Ruthie, Mama, and the tiny angel, all at the same time. So there's Papa standing outside the church waiting on him. The village folk gathered all around the church steps. Someone from the village began to sing, "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright." The folks in the village joined in, but Papa and Mama and Ruthie and the tiny angel hardly heard. They just hugged each other some more and some more. And since that time, every year, for more than 60 years, a tiny angel has stood on top of a perfect balsam Christmas tree. She wears a dress of softest silk, the color of cream, all trimmed with ribbons and lace. The sleeves are long and flowing, and it looks as if she has wings. The angel has coal black curls and a dimple in each cheek. That's how it happened. The Christmas of the heavenly angel and the perfect balsam Christmas tree. Do you know how I know? Grandma Ruthie told me so. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that story. Like I said, it was a new story to me, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.